A receipt can be brutally honest. It does not care how stressful your day was. It does not care that the item was on sale. It does not care that the purchase made sense for 5 minutes. It simply records what happened. Money left, something was bought, and now the emotion that pushed the decision has disappeared. That is the strange part about spending. The purchase can feel obvious in the moment, then confusing afterward. You look at the item, the app notification, the credit card statement, or the delivery box, and there is this quiet question underneath everything. What was I really trying to buy? Because many purchases are not only about the product. A new outfit can be about confidence. Food delivery can be about exhaustion. A phone upgrade can be about feeling productive. A vacation can be about escape. A luxury item can be about proof. A random online order can be about needing something to look forward to. That is why spending money is not just a financial behavior. It is emotional. It is psychological. It is personal. And sometimes the numbers in your bank account are only the final result of feelings you never stopped to examine. So in this video, we are going deeper than budgeting. We are looking at the psychology behind spending money, why we buy things we do not need, why discounts feel so powerful, why online shopping can feel addictive, why credit cards make spending feel less real, why comparison can quietly change our financial standards, and most importantly, how to spend with more awareness, instead of letting emotions, pressure, and impulse make the decision first. Before we go deeper, if this topic already feels a little too familiar, you're probably not alone. Spending is one of those habits people talk about casually, but the reasons behind it can be surprisingly personal. So if you want more simple money lessons that help you understand not just your wallet, but your behavior, you can like and subscribe. I upload videos like this every week to help make money feel less confusing and more practical. Now, let us begin with the first idea. The purchase is not always the real purchase. A package arrives at the door. For a few seconds, it feels exciting. You open it, touch it, try it, place it somewhere, maybe even feel proud of buying it. Then the excitement begins to shrink. The item is still there, the money is gone, and the feeling that made you buy it has already started looking for somewhere else to go. That small moment explains a lot about spending. Many purchases are not really about the thing itself. The thing is only the surface. Underneath it, there is usually a feeling. Stress, looking for comfort. Boredom, looking for stimulation. Insecurity, looking for proof. Exhaustion, looking for reward. Comparison, looking for relief. Ambition, looking for a shortcut. That is why spending money can look logical on the outside and emotional on the inside. A person can spend 30 minutes reviewing for something they never needed in the first place. They can compare prices, check ratings, wait for a sale, and still be making a decision driven by emotion. The research looks rational, the reason is not. This is where money becomes more than math, because your budget does not only compete with prices, it competes with your mood, your environment, your habits, your identity, your need to feel better right now. So the most important question before a purchase is sometimes not, can I afford this? A better question is, what am I hoping this purchase will fix? Because sometimes the item in your cart is not the real purchase. The real purchase is a feeling.
Emotional spending is dangerous because it rarely introduces itself honestly. It does not say, I am about to damage your budget because you are stressed. It sounds more convincing than that. It says, you worked hard. You deserve this. It is just one time. It is only a small amount. You need something nice today. And sometimes that is true. A small treat can be fine. A good meal can be worth it. A coffee with a friend can be meaningful. Money should not make life feel dry and joyless. But the problem begins when spending becomes the main tool for managing emotions. Bad day? Order something. Feeling behind? Upgrade something. Feeling bored? Browse until something looks interesting. Feeling insecure? Buy something that makes you feel more impressive. Feeling overwhelmed? Click checkout just to feel in control of one small thing. The purchase gives a quick lift, but it does not always solve the feeling that created it. Stress can return. Boredom can return. Insecurity can return. And when the feeling comes back, the brain remembers the shortcut. Buy something, feel better, repeat. That loop can quietly drain a person without one dramatic financial mistake. No luxury disaster. No huge shopping spree. Just small emotional transactions stacked on top of each other. A $14 order. A $27 impulse buy. A $9 subscription. A $42 I deserve this purchase. Each one feels small alone. Together, they become a pattern. That is why some people know a lot about money and still feel stuck. They understand saving. They understand debt. They understand investing. But in the moment of spending, the emotional reward arrives faster than the financial consequence. Comfort is immediate. Regret is delayed. And the human brain usually pays attention to whatever is closest. So the work is not only to become more disciplined, the deeper work is learning how to notice the feeling before it turns into a transaction. A useful question is, what happened right before I wanted to buy this? That question slows everything down, and slowing down can be powerful because impulse spending needs speed. Awareness creates space.
Some purchases are most exciting before they become real. The best version of the product is not always the one in your hands. Sometimes it is the one in your imagination. Before buying, a new phone feels like productivity. A new outfit feels like confidence. New desk setup feels like discipline. New planner feels like control. New course feels like a better future. New car feels like proof that life is improving. The item becomes a symbol. It is not just an object anymore. It carries a story. And the story sounds something like, when I have this, I will feel different. That is why browsing can become addictive. You are not only looking at products, you are looking at possible versions of yourself. The organized version, confident version, the successful version, stylish version, the version who finally has life together. But after the purchase, reality walks in. The phone still needs your focus. Outfit still needs your confidence. Desk setup still needs your discipline. Planner still needs your consistency. Course still needs your effort. The car still needs payments, insurance, maintenance, and repairs. The fantasy was effortless. The real-life version requires behavior. That does not make the purchase useless. Some purchases genuinely support a better life. A reliable laptop can help your work. A better mattress can improve your sleep. A good tool can save time. A meaningful trip can become a memory you keep for years. But a product can only support change. It cannot become the change for you. This is where people waste money on the appearance of progress. They buy the look of the habit without building the habit. They buy the image of success without building the foundation. They buy the feeling of transformation without doing the uncomfortable part after checkout. So before buying something connected to a better version of yourself, ask, will I actually use this, or do I only like the person I imagine owning it? That question cuts through fantasy, and sometimes fantasy is the most expensive part of the purchase. Cash has weight. A card does not. A $50 bill leaving your hand feels different from a $50 tap on a machine. One looks like money disappearing. The other feels like permission. That is one reason modern spending can become so slippery. Cards, mobile wallets, one-click checkout, saved payment details, subscriptions, and buy now, pay later plans all reduce friction. The purchase becomes smooth, clean, fast, almost invisible. And when spending feels invisible, it becomes easier to repeat. This is especially important with credit cards. A credit card can be useful when handled carefully. It can build credit, provide convenience, and offer protection. But psychologically, it can blur the line between money and borrowing. A checking account shows what you have. A credit limit shows what you can borrow. Those are not the same thing. But in the moment, available credit can feel like available money. That small misunderstanding can become expensive because borrowed money makes the present feel flexible, then makes the future feel tight. The meal is enjoyed today. The outfit is worn today. The gadget is unboxed today. The statement arrives later. By then, the emotional reason for buying may already be gone. You are left paying for a feeling you no longer feel. This is also why small purchases can surprise people. Your brain remembers them as separate moments. Your bank account records them as one total. A few snacks, few deliveries, few digital subscriptions, few add-ons, and a few only this once purchases. No single purchase feels serious enough to stop, but the total becomes serious anyway. One way to protect yourself is to make money visible again. Check your balance before buying. Review transactions every few days. Use a separate account or card for wants. Set a weekly spending limit. Remove saved cards from shopping apps. For certain categories, use debit or cash. The point is not to make spending painful. The point is to make it real. Because when money feels real, decisions become more honest. People do not only buy products. They buy signals. A brand can signal status. A car can signal success. A vacation can signal freedom. A watch can signal taste. A gym membership can signal discipline. A clean desk setup can signal productivity. Even simple purchases can carry a message. This is who I am. Or sometimes, this is who I want people to think I am. That is where spending becomes complicated, because identity is powerful. If you see yourself as someone who values health, spending on better food can make sense. If learning matters to you, books and courses may be worth it. If family matters, experiences with loved ones can be meaningful. But identity spending turns dangerous when the image becomes more important than the reality. You buy the look of wealth while your savings stay weak. You buy the appearance of discipline while your routines stay broken. You buy confidence from the outside because you feel uncertain inside. And social media makes this pressure louder. A normal day can feel disappointing after 5 minutes of scrolling. Someone has a better apartment. Someone is traveling. Someone has a nicer car. Someone is eating somewhere expensive. Someone your age seems far ahead. Someone's life looks cleaner, richer, calmer, and more successful. Even when you know it is curated, the comparison still lands, because the brain does not compare fairly. You know your full life. You see only their highlight. That imbalance can push people to spend money just to feel less behind. Not because they truly need the thing, not because it fits their plan, but because they want evidence that they are doing okay. This is one of the most expensive forms of spending, buying reassurance. The problem is that reassurance purchased from the outside usually expires quickly. Soon there is another person to compare with, another upgrade, another lifestyle, another reminder that someone else appears to be winning. So your money needs a private standard, a standard based on your income, your responsibilities, your goals, and your season of life. Because looking successful and being financially stable are not the same thing. One can impress people. The other lets you sleep better. Before buying something meant to send a message, ask, would I still want this if nobody could see it? That question can reveal whether the purchase is for your life or for an audience. Every purchase tells a story. Some stories are simple. I needed this. I planned for this. This adds real value to my life. Other stories are harder to hear. I was trying to feel enough. I wanted control. I felt behind. I needed comfort. I wanted proof that I was doing better. Your spending is not something to hate. It is something to study. Because once you understand what your money is trying to solve, you can stop asking every dollar to carry emotions it cannot fix. You can still buy things you enjoy, treat yourself, and use money to make life better. But you become harder to manipulate, harder to pressure, harder to rush, harder to pull into someone else's lifestyle. And before an unplanned purchase takes over, you can pause long enough to ask, what am I really trying to buy? That one question will not fix every money problem overnight, but it can interrupt the loop. It can bring your future self into the room. It can turn unconscious spending into a conscious decision. And over time, that quiet pause can become one of the most powerful financial habits you build. If this video helps you understand the psychology behind your spending habits, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.